Hello, in this video I'm going to show you Notorio, which is an interactive app that helps you learn to read and play music. And let me just show you really quickly kind of the core feature of Notorio, which is that it shows you notes to play, and then it can listen to while you're playing them if you're in the auto listen mode, and it will only show you a new note once you play the correct note. So this is showing me that C right there, and so if I play notes that aren't the C on my keyboard, it won't advance, but if I play the right note, then it will advance. And this works with any instrument. It's listening through its microphone. So whatever instrument you're playing, it's set up, it will listen and it will show you the note, and you play it, and then it will go until you hit the right note. And again, I'll hit some wrong notes, nothing, hit the right note, it goes. So that's Notorio in its auto listen mode with random notes. But there's lots of modes and things that you can learn in this. So I'll walk you through those. So it's built for beginners, but it can be useful for honing your skills for a long time into your music learning journey for several things. And you can see that the main things it teaches are reading notes, major scales, basic chords, and jazz chords. And learning and understanding those things can get you a long way on any instrument. And obviously something like chords aren't going to apply if you're, learning something like violin or cello or whatever. But for keyboard instruments, knowing those chords, and then for the other instruments, being able to read and play notes and learning your skills, like I said, will get you a long way to being able to play kind of almost anything. So how this started is I wanted to learn how to play piano, but I wanted to learn it through jazz. To start out, there's an awesome YouTube channel I watched a bunch of videos on called Walk That Bass. I'll link to it below. But soon I realized I needed to learn to be able to read notes and to be able to practice the basic jazz chords to be able to get anywhere with jazz. And so I built this app to be able to help me to learn to read and play notes, and to be able to quiz me on chords, and to learn those basic things so that I could learn jazz better. So before we jump into how we use each of these modes and go through each of these skills, let's jump into the settings real quick, just so we can see what settings you might want to set up when you're first starting with Notorio. So first of all is the note range of notes that it will show you. And so if you're on a keyboard, you can choose treble clef or bass clef or both. But then if you're using a different instrument like cello or flute or alto sax or whatever, it will only show you the notes that are in the range of that instrument. So we'll leave it on treble and bass clef for now. And then you can choose the key signature. If you're starting out learning notes and chords, you might want to just leave it on all keys, but then you can get advanced and set it so that it will only show you things within the key of D flat, and you can practice reading and playing notes just within that key. So then the final thing is hints. We had note names on in that first one where it would show the note names for what I was playing, and we'll leave that on for right now. And then Panda No and Panda Yes, you'll have to download the app and try it to see what that means. I'll leave that as a mystery. So we've got, again, those hints enabled, and let me just show you what it looks like when both hints are on. Because if you're coming in to read notes, let's just do the button mode right now, and you have no idea where anything is, you can turn on the keyboard hints, and then you can see it'll show you the note name here. That's an E. And you can follow it along on the keyboard, and it will show you which note on your keyboard is that E. Okay, so let's walk through each of these lesson types and how you might want to use them. So we'll start with reading notes. And this mode, it shows you random notes, basically. And I can do that either with a manual type session, which if I go into that, and I start the session, that means that I have to press the button for it to advance. So it's not listening to me. If I play that correct note, a B up there, it won't advance because it's only going when I push the button. And that can be handy if you don't have an instrument with you and you just want to kind of use it like flashcards. But you can also use it to prompt you, like, to do exercises like, okay, whatever note it shows me, I'm going to play a major scale from that note, like an A. But you have to know your major scales to be able to do that. But that's why you might want to use that kind of session. The next one is timer. I'll show you that with the chords, but let's go into the auto listen session. So this is the one where it's going to start an auto listen session with random notes. It's going to show me notes, and it's not going to advance until I play the correct note. And from in here I can change settings if I need to change keys or whatever, or turn the hints on and off. But as I hit continue here, now you'll see me, I'll just play the notes that it's shown. I can choose how long I want to do it for. It can cycle through all the notes, or I can give it a, choose an amount of time I want to do my session for. I'm just going to choose until I exit. And then let's see how I do. So that's a B flat, C, F down here, whoops, see I played a C and that's a D. And as you develop this, the idea is that you'll get muscle memory and be able to do this really quickly, and you develop the correlation between the notes you're seeing and what's being played. And when you end a session in the auto listen mode, it'll give you a score based on your speed and accuracy, and I did not do a very good score that time. And I can add it to my records or discard the results. But once you've started doing this, if you come up to this little awards symbol, you can track your progress over time. This, when mine went down, was when I started developing more and stopped learning notes. And so I got worse and worse over time. But you can see, you can follow your progress, and hopefully that will go up over time. And you can get different basically stickers for if you have streaks, or if you get an all-time best in something. And so that's a really handy thing. So we talked about reading notes. Like I say, another mode is learning your major scales, and you want to know your major scales for all kinds of different things, like improvising jazz or songwriting. So let's do this one in an auto listen mode, and it will choose a scale at random since I'm not locked into any particular scale in my settings. So it's going to start me with, let's see what scale it starts me with. E flat major. So I have to start down on E flat, and it's going to walk me through that. And the next one it's going to do is an A up here. And if I hit the wrong note, if I don't hit that E, if I hit like a F, it won't go, or an E flat. So it's going to help me learn all my scales. So, and notably, when I'm doing major scales, if I add that to my records, this is a different chart than the one that was random notes. And so I can track my progress on different individual skills. And so this one I haven't done before. And so just know that you can, on each of these things, you can track them independently and track your skills in that thing. So now let's talk about chords, because I might want to use this app differently when I'm learning chords. And like I said, I built it to learn jazz, and so to read a lead sheet, I need to be able to read notes, and I needed to know my basic jazz chords. So jazz chords, when you're first learning them, you may again want to do it with an auto listen session. And so this is listening, but Notorio, its AI model that it's using to listen and understand what note it's playing it can't yet understand chords when you're playing the notes all together. So you have to play the notes one at a time. So again, you're probably only going to use this auto listen mode with chords when you're first learning chords. And you may find that there are certain notes that it has trouble hearing, and sometimes just repositioning your phone can make it hear those notes better. And so you'll find that, even sometimes putting it upside down can help. If your device supports going upside down, which the iPad does. So you can play around with the positioning of this to get it to be listening for the right thing. All right, so that is the auto listen session with chords, but what I find very handy for chords after I've learned the basics is just doing it on a timer. So it's more like flashcards with a little bit of time pressure. So I chose jazz chords here. We're going to do the whole range, and once I hit continue, it's going to ask me how many seconds do I want between each different chord shown. So let's leave it at 5 seconds. And so it will show this, and this is just to test my knowledge once I already know the chords. So E flat minor 7th, and it's playing actually down here. So it's not listening for it, but it'll just keep playing them until I stop it, or however long I've set it. If I know these chords, which I sort of do, then this can help me, like I say, like flashcards, where it's just like how quickly over time can I improve my speed. A sharp half diminished. Nope, that was a flat half diminished. E minor 7th. Like I say, you can go in there, and then when I do the timer, then I can eventually speed it up and see, can I improve it to where I can get to 3 or 2.5 seconds between each with getting them accurately. Let me show you one more with the chords that you might want to do, which is on jazz chords, which is to do with a manual session where it's not going to change until I press the next button. This can be handy for things like, okay, it's showing me a D sharp minor 7th, that chord. And this may be handy for when you want to practice inversions. So that's when it's like, instead of playing the C sharp up here, I play it down here. It's technically the same chord. So I can stay on this for a long time and play all the different inversions of this and do whatever practice I want with it, and then hit next when I'm ready to move to the next chord. A flat major 7th. What might I want to do with that? Maybe I want to throw the top note down here, practice all that, and then hit next. So, like I say, you can think of a million ways to use each of these modes and each of these different, whether it's random notes or scales or basic chords or jazz chords, and use it whatever is best for you. One other thing that I wanted to show you is the metronome that's built into Notorio, which is up here. And this metronome, I kind of tilted it towards jazz, where you can have it actually play kind of a jazz beat to play to. So this is Jazz Swing Ride. And once I play this, we'll play that swing, and I can combine this with going through like my basic chords on, let's do the manual mode. Actually, let's do jazz chords on manual. And so it'll show me chords, and I can try playing them like, and hit next, A half diminished. And I can improvise or whatever, but I That's the metronome, and it's got more basic settings. If you just want wood block, you can slide up for the tempo, or you can tap on here, whatever tempo you want, and it will update to the speed that you're tapping. So that's a handy little bonus that's in there to help with your music practicing. But like I said, for me, that YouTube video series that I mentioned at the start, Walk That Bass, I highly recommend that to just learn how major scales and different chords all work together. And it's useful not just for jazz, but for anything. But then when you need to come and practice just reading notes, practice having flashcards to show the different chords, Notorio can come in really handy to learn all of those things. So I hope you love it. Thanks.